Okay, my friends, the video coming up, I'm going to just show you this. This will be coming up later in the video, but listen to what it has to say. My friends, I'm not going to disclose the source of this information, but it says that NASA scientists are about to publish conclusive studies showing abundant methane of non-biological nature is found on Saturn's giant moon, Titan. Saturn's giant moon, Titan. We're going to talk about this in a second. A finding that validates a new book's contention that oil is not a fossil fuel. That is absolutely ridiculous. Oil is not a fossil fuel. Oil is 100% a fossil fuel. And I will prove this, and I would love to see NASA or anyone talk to me about this, because I have the evidence that proves that they are wrong. Okay, my friends, I was told, and this is just hearsay, that NASA or some agency was going to announce that fossil fuels are not fossil fuels because they have found the exact same particles in space. And I agree they're in space because the things that are in space are also biological. This is all these jets shooting out of here are shooting out because they are blood vessels, and they're shooting out of the blood vessels because they're being cooked. And the astronauts in space say they smell like steak when they come in from a spacewalk. Take their suits off and they sniff their suits and they say it smells like a sirloin, medium rare. And they shoot out in every different direction depending upon what direction the blood vessel is shooting out. The sun hits it, cooks it. All right, and if NASA's going to say that fossil fuels are not not from fossils, they're 100% wrong. I followed this from day one. European Space Agency and NASA Rosetta mission, the Philae lander. I know this thing inside and out, and I have the chemistry, and it proves what I am saying. And I'll prove it to you right now. And if you can't see this, you got issues. You see that? This is, it might not make sense to you, but it makes sense to me. You see all these CHs over there? Those are hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons, CHs. What is this over here? Iron, sodium, silicon, carbon. All of the things that makes up the human body, or any creature. And then this is all blood chemistry, CHs. I'm telling you, these are creature body parts that are in space. And I have them that came from space and crashed here on Earth. I have them in my shop right now here, and I have extracted blood from them, and I will show you. Okay, that's the comet, and this is Raleigh, North Carolina. That thing hit right next to you, ruined your whole day. Look at this now. This is what I say. We're talking about carbons, the CHs, CH3, CH2, so forth. Hydrocarbons are fossil fuels, yes or no? Experts say CH3, CHs are found everywhere in space, so therefore there's no fossils, absolutely no fossils. And therefore, hydrocarbons are not necessarily the source strictly of fossils. Well, Roger says the CH3s are found everywhere because 100% of everywhere is life. It's all is a fossil. Everything there is fossils. One small step for mankind, one giant leap for the human mind. And that's what we are into right now, my friend. And if your mind cannot leap, I can't help you. Okay, my friends, I'm not going to disclose the source of this information, but it says that NASA scientists are about to publish conclusive studies showing abundant methane of non-biological nature is found on Saturn's giant moon, Titan. Saturn's giant moon, Titan. We're going to talk about this in a second. A finding that validates a new book's contention that oil is not a fossil fuel. I say that's not correct whatsoever. Not even close. It says hydrocarbons have been found in great abundance elsewhere in the solar system. Great abundance, obviously, because everything there is was made of biology. That's just a fact. No fossils involved, no fossils involved, no fossils involved. Absolutely there's fossils involved. Petroleum, natural gas wells go on dry for 50 years are replenishing themselves because the blood is bleeding back in there, the bodily fluids. Vast biomasses beneath Earth's surface, estimated to be thousands of times the surface by energy from methane and oxygen pulled from sulfates and ferrous oxides. I was just studying about those because those are the source of bacteria. Bacteria is healthy. All of this stuff is from this Earth. And guess what? Sulfur is 10th most prevalent element in the universe, they say, and on Earth it's the 5th most prevalent substance, and it's vital for every organism. It's found all throughout your body. It's important. Anyway, it goes on. It's all stuff that's about biology. Everything is biology, 100%. The Earth was subjected to only partial melt. That's all nonsense. They have no idea. Hydrocarbons stable at great depths. Well, the whole Earth was at one time whatever was a biology. It goes on and on and on. Can we still say that fossil fuels are really from fossils? And I say NASA was wrong. Everything there is, the entire universe, in my opinion, is biology, 100%. Let's look and see what it has to say from this video I did long ago. This is... Alright, now this was from my other channel I did long ago, and every time I did anything about space I got assaulted, so I gave up on that channel, but here it goes. This Comet 67P from the Rosetta mission, where they went out to explore this comet with a robot. And it landed on the comet, and they're looking at the comet. Before that, they circled it a bunch of times. Now, what I want you to look at is, here's the structure. It has this neck. It has a bulb. Well, I'm just going to cut to the chase. That breaks off exactly. That is muscle fiber. That's a bundle of muscle fiber. These are the tendon fibrils. I've shown them a billion times, and I show this one how the tendons form and how they're fibrous and how the neck comes up, and then I show my fossil here that I have that has the same little pinchy bundles. If you look at that carefully, you're going to see that little pinchy bundle. These are all the bundles of the muscles, and then it goes down to the tendons. Now I show here. Now I'm getting back into my stuff. This is the tendons. Now, I come down here, and there's an abrupt transition. That's the tendon fibers. This is in my own shop here from my own mud fossils. That's how abrupt they go. This is the gluey stuff, and then the muscle. Let me show you. This is very cool. If I don't say so myself, which I do. Now, let's come over to here. Now, there's the tendon fibrils. Everybody knows about these. Then I always talk about the abrupt transition. Then I talk about the glue, which is at the abrupt transition. It literally glues them together. Absolutely amazing. Then the other side of the glue attaches to the muscles. And watch how the muscle weaves. It actually weaves in and out of the glue to hold on to this attachment. Watch this. It says, okay, what are we going to do from the tendons? Here, I'll just shut that down. We have to make a Forget him. All right, now, what do we got here? You see the gluey stuff? Let me go back just a second. A couple seconds here. All right, now, there's the muscle, the tendon again. There's the glue, and now we're going into a muscle. Because that's what happens. Tendons lock into your bones or some anchor. Then you got glue holding the tendons, which are not, they don't move, they don't stretch. They are, well, just barely. But then you get into the glue, which is just tough as hell. But it's abrupt transitions on both sides. Then you get into the muscle. Then you get into more abrupt transitions, and here they go. Now, this is a really gluey thing, and these are just amazing. And the pregnant lady stone at Baalbek is one of those. Now, you see this right here? There's the muscle. You see it running here like this? They run right up into this glue. and then they run out. There's the fibers. Now, see it? Look at how cool that is. Now, all of this, in the early part, it's mineralized. It means it's got a lot of minerals. And they give it some structural integrity as it's... See, that's an abrupt transition right there. Then there'll be another one coming up here in a second. Right there. See, there's another one right there. This is muscle abrupt transition, and there's another one out there. These holes are what feeds the muscle with its nutrition. And this is right there. All those little holes around here are the holes that are blood vessels. And you can see them squirting out. You see the little boop, 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 boop. If you know how these tendons are built, that's how they're built. They're built as like little anchors. They anchor in. And here's the blood vessel. Here's what it looks like here. Now, I have one here that is the same exact thing. So I'm going to show it over here. Now, that's the one in outer space. Now I'm going to play this. Now I'm going to show mine that I have here, and I could show it now, but I won't bother. Here it is right here. Now, it's down here. This also came through space. That's why it's all black, scorched up here. And that's why this blew out, because that's the red blood side. It's a giant fingertip. I have it here. I've looked at it extremely well. I have a lot of videos on it. That is exactly what you see behind it. And this ball is exactly what is out in outer space, and that's the neck right there. Exactly identical to what I will be holding it up against. Uno momento. All right, I'm showing it. See back there? See it? There it is right there. It's the same thing. You know, I didn't do a good job of presenting it, but it's the same thing. You see the round ball there? See that round ball? I have to admit I did not do a good job. But see all the blood in here? That's all the blood that was in where the side of the fingertip was, and it blew out. You know, I will show you this because I didn't do a real good job. But you can see, maybe I'll get it better in a second. I don't know what I'm babbling on about, but you can see all of this is burnt off. Let me show you. I'm going to grab something real quick here. Give me a second. Hold. There it goes. Now, you see this right here? That's what I was showing right here. That's the thing. There it is. And that's the ball that is outer space, this part right here, and that's the neck. All right, and I showed it very well. Now, this is from an eroded fingertip, and that is where the blood is on the side of this eroded fingertip, and that is identical to, I mean, it's identical. That's, you see it? There is no difference whatsoever. None. Zero. This was on Earth, and this one flattened out, and the blood came out of it in that spot. I mean, if you can't see it, there's no difference. This one got scorched coming through. This one just bled out. This one exploded out. Now, I got another one over here somewhere that shows it also quite well. Well, yeah, here, hold on. This is from the giant hand that I have out here, which is, that's the DNA, they call it bone black. It's a silhouette from the distal phalanges, that's the fingertip. Now, that's the same as these here. And the blood blew out the side and the end, you see it? Now this still has the vein in there, and the veins don't blow out. But you see the angles, they make that angle on the end. They all do that. They all make that angle. See the angle? Watch this. Oh man, this one's heavy. Here's the angle. That one there is from the giant hand that I have in my front yard. It's 3 feet wide. It's just laying out there. The whole thing's out there. All of, well, not every bit of it, but most of it. And anyway, that's a fingertip. And that right there is where this apical tuft would be. You see it? You really can see it in there if you look. And this was CAT scanned, and the hand has been DNA certified, and it's human. So just reporting what I have found, and what the idea that they think that just because these CH3s, which is what they're finding, these hydrocarbons, are way out in space, well, and there can't be any fossils out there. Well, totally wrong. And the astronauts come back and they say space smells like steak, so they got to start thinking a little outside of the box. Okay, my friends, it appears that NASA feels that there is hydrocarbons in space, and there can't be any biology out there, so it means that it has nothing to do, fossil fuels are not fossil fuels, and I'm going to go into a little depth, well, great depth actually, momentarily. However, I'm going to say that that is Iapetus, and that is literally from biology. This is what is called a tendon anchor. It's a tendon enthesis. It's locked like this, and it has it's a ball, and that is a Iapetus. That's one of Saturn's moons. Here's its ridge, and that is common in these tendon balls. All those little lacunas, they call them. Here's another techus. Here it is right here. There's the where it anchors, and that's what they are. Now this is mimix, another anchoring tendon ball. And let me just show you what they look like on Earth. Alright, I'm just going to run right down the list so you can see them. They're everywhere because Earth was covered 100% with giant creatures. And these are the tendon balls that are left over from when they all drowned in the Great Flood. They're everywhere. I mean, literally everywhere. And they are from different layers of the body. There's some that were in different, you know, your shoulders and your legs. And these are probably from skin, which is the interstitium. And that is solidified in some type of chemistry that gave it that green. Now, some of them come like this. They have all different structures inside. These are the similar ones to what we saw up on, you know, outer space there. Of course, they're not broken up. There's the same sort of structure. Now, this was broken wide open, and some of them have like that. And the Chinese made plates out of them. They cut them across. Even Chaco Canyon, I believe, is from a tendon enthesis, because they were just absolutely enormous. I mean, they're moons, so they're pretty good size. Now, that's a house, and these are tendon balls. So, and I have a lot of this, so not, you know, this, there it is right there. This is not just a one-off thing. Here they are deep inside the earth. They have that shell around them, and they come extremely large, as you can see. All right, this one, a lot of them have this inside of them, and I have another one I got from a friend that is even more eroded from. That came from Lee. I think the other one came from Lee too. Yeah, Lee Simpson sent me this, and that's what happens. Here's the thing. Different chemistry gives you different results. So what are we seeing here? We're seeing the reverse of what you normally see, where the insides can erode away, and other times you see, well, that one there, you see the outside eroded away. Now this came, now this, I'm not sure what's going on with that, to be honest with you. I got to look at that a little closer, but I can tell you what, this is, they're anchored here. Let me show you. All right, you got bone. Now, I'm saying there's two bones here. Now, why it's cut flat like that, I have no clue. But what happens is you get like a ligament attachment, and a ball goes in there, and it locks in. And that's the ball in there. And then you get a little stalk comes over to another bone, and then they can move around like this. And they're tough, 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 tough. There's that little stalk. I mean, they're tough. You see some of these things, like it's like a hair sticking out of a gigantic thing sticking up in the air. It's been there forever, and they don't. As a matter of fact, there's one. I think it's called Krishna's Butterball, something like that. And it's one something like this, and they were afraid it's going to fall over and hurt the people. It's just absolutely amazing. They got 12 elephants up there, couldn't push it over. It's still there today. Now this came from lily lavender. This is the same thing, right? That's virtually Iapetus. Is what it is, and they're all in the walls. There's one that looks like Iapetus. These are, you know, again, you remember the one from Lee had all that different structure inside. Some of them are just like that. It depends on where they are in the body, and I think it's got to do with whether they have to give way or whether they're just really solid, and it depends on the substrate that they're locked into. Because some of them, I can show you some of them in a minute, how they're, and this is, when you see this white stuff, normally that's kaolin clays, and that's skin. So, and that's normally like, see, they're all over the place, these balls. And they are the anchors of the skin. Look at that one. That came in, I think, today's. I saw that today. This isn't one of these stone balls. However, the biological part, the reactive chemistry of biology in here reacted to, I believe it's some certain types of sulfates. That's why I was looking into sulfur dioxides and sulfates and all that business, because that's where bacteria grow, and then the bacteria create enzymes. The enzymes break down the chemistry to produce all kinds of crazy stuff. Well, not crazy, but fabulous colors. Because what they do with attachments, that's a whole other issue. But what do we got here? I think those right there are actually stone balls. Some of these creatures, you just absolutely cannot imagine the size of these things. There's one of those. And that's, you know, see, this one has that same, you know, geometric structure there. Some of them are just perfectly round. Here's one of the plates that they made from China. These are up in Canada. Look at these. Look like a water, like cantaloupes or something. I don't know what they are, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know, you know, because look at that. I have to really look in to see what that is. Apparently that's up in Canada. Now see here, look at this. That is skin underneath there. Now there's layers. There's a lower layer, and then there's a topical layer. And in between, there's what's called interstitium. And it's a gooey layer of these balls with sacks of water, and these are locked in with little straps, and they pull your skin back and forth as it moves. And then this is the mud that ran off of here, but that was like your fleshy stuff. Underneath is the skin. This was in the fleshier stuff. Above was skin, you know, the layer of skin, and this is part of this creature's body. We have to take a whole different look at things, and these are the kind of balls. You know, a lot of them call hematite balls. Well, they got a lot of blood in them. There's a lot of chemistry going on here. All right, there's another ball sticking up. You know, it's not just one of these here and there. They're just everywhere. And everybody decided, see, here's a stalk. Everybody just looked at him and said, oh, well, we don't know what to say, so just shut up and don't say anything. There's another one with a stalk. Now this is what we do cutting stone today, and they used to cut them back then too. They had actually equipment to cut them just like that, and I guess I could show you that too. This is when they were building Stonehenge. Merlin. Somebody told me today that Merlin was the one that had that picture commissioned, and he had it actually rebuilt or something. I don't know, something like that. But anyway, Stonehenge is nothing more than a giant creature's body. I'm telling you, I saw every bit of it. Every single bit is a creature's body, 100%. And that's the foot, and it's called the heel stone. I mean, duh. Stonehenge told me not to bother him again. Hey, let me show you something. I told you the tendon. I'm going to show you a tendon ball pulled out. What is it? Tendon mat. Tendon mat. All right, with the anchor pulled out. You see this? This is mat right here. Mat. And that strap runs up. It runs up through a hole, and through that hole, and on the bottom is a ball. These are balls you see everywhere. See one here, one here, one here, one here. They're all over this thing, anchoring it in. I mean, not just here, they're all over. And that is pulled out from where it's supposed to be anchored. That's a problem. That's an injury. That's painful. Now, when you see down in Peru and stuff, they have a little snap off right here, and they use these plates to make the walls down in Peru. And what do we got? Hold on a second. Oh, I got so much stuff here. Hold on, let me find something of interest. Okay, once again, this is just to verify. This is down in Fuerte de San Piata, Bolivia. These are actual tracks in what was at that time a wet piece of meat. It was a tendon, and these are tank treads that show that it was designed so that it would not sink into the wet flesh. They cut slabs off of there, and then they took those slabs and they turned them into walls. And let me see, tendon walls. All right, these are the walls they turned them into. They cut them and they brought them back here and turned them into these walls. And that's some bloody stuff that came out of here because they used it. They probably shouldn't have used it, but it lasted pretty good. That one there is kind of nasty. Now, that's how they made these walls. And hold on a second, I got another one to show you. Alright, you saw the tendon tire tracks up here. They were cutting these slabs, they moved them back here to make the walls. And that's why they all fit together well, because they were nice and moist when they cut them, it appears to me. Well, you know they were moist because the thing, sunk in. And you can see little bits of blood. I don't know if you can see, look, you can't even see down there, can you? You see that little red spot there? I looked at them very well, and I can find it all over the place. There's very little blood. So there should be very little blood in tendons, and that's why the one that I'll show you or have shown you that had all that blood running out, that's exceptional. They very, very rarely use that.